good. My name is I'm tired as fuck, and the new dev update just dropped. Quite literally just got out of bed, got to my computer, opened up Twitter for 1 second, saw this, was like, alright, time to go. So, yeah, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, swig at this. I know, it's like, why didn't you do this beforehand? The Tools of Torment mid-chapter update is quickly approaching. So it can only mean one thing. It's time for another dev update! And this series post will cover some of the biggest changes and additions making their way to the game, and this edition will dive into various quality of life, accessibility improvements, as well as extensive list of balance adjustments. Without further ado, let's kick things off with the high request feature. Blood web improvements. Who would have thought that too many blood points could ever be a problem? After our progression overhaul last year, many of you found yourself with a hefty amount of blood points, so many in fact that finding it time to spend them before your next match could be difficult. We've seen many suggestions for ways to improve the spending process, and rather than picking just one, we've implemented a few fan favorite ideas. We hope these new features will allow you to spend more time playing and less time shopping. First edition is very simple. Selecting a node, the game will automatically buy anything needed along the way. This allows you to purchase multiple nodes with a single button press and ensure that you can get exactly what you want. Inventory's entity is ever present and may consume one of the nodes before the chain can be completed, so plan wisely. If you're just looking to level up your character quickly and cheaply and don't care what you get, the new center node in the Blood Web is perfect for you. Selecting this will automatically purchase items until the current Blood Web is being completed. This will prioritize perks, then the cheapest option available. This can also be used for partially completed Blood Webs, allowing you to grab anything you've got your eye on first. To ensure the players familiarize themselves with contents of Blood Web, this button will only appear once the character has been prestiged for the first time. Press to buy. Everyone just watched the Blood Webs fly from your pocket at an alarming rate. The new default interaction only requires you to press no to purchase it instead of having to hold it. This can be used in conjunction with other options above to further speed up the spending process. The interaction can be toggled if you would rather use hold instead. Honestly, great changes. Won't change much about me. If you want attention, stay up here on that. Okay? For the most part, this won't change much for me. I actually like spending them at the start of stream. There's some people who actually like watching me and like listening to the spending of blood points. Let's everything kind of warm up first. Visual Terror Radius. The Terror Radius is an integral part of the game. Both warning survivors about the approaching killer and activating multiple perks. This can make things difficult for our deaf or hard of hearing players. Hey! So there's no visual representation of the Terror Radius strength, forcing them to use a perk which works. The Terror Radius is an alternative. This, of course, is not ideal. I'd like everyone to be able to use the perks they like and not be forced to use one to have access to a core part of the game. Visual Terror Radius option is here. When enabling accessibility, a heart will appear in your survivor's chest whenever the killer's Terror Radius can be heard. Blood bars will also appear as a haze in their chest. This heart will become more vibrant and beat more intensity the closer the killer comes. If your character is ever off screen, an indicator will appear if the Terror Radius is heard, signaling that you should look at your character to see the current state of the Terror Radius visual feedback. For those who need it, this heart will also be affected by colorblind settings to ensure it is adequately visible. Cool. I think this is great. This option will not provide a competitive advantage compared to the usual audio Terror Radius and will respect any Terror Radius perks, add-ons, powers. Cool. Auto Wreckers map update. Auto Haven has been teased over the last couple things on a rework. So, I'm not surprised. But that could be a mixed bag. Depending on how the map generates, there can be plenty of safe parts near the center, or very few, creating either very safe areas or dead zone. This also has very few line of sight blocks, so it can make it difficult for stealthy killers to sneak up on survivors around edge of the map. On the other hand, it features several maze tiles. Clever survivors can combine these tiles to create stronger loops, making them very difficult to catch. To remedy this, we're making significant layout changes to the map. The Blood Lodge itself will appear close to the center of the map, breaking up line of sight and separating some more of the safer loops. The maze tiles have also been separated from one another, making it more difficult to combine them together. Gas Heaven. Gas Heaven features unique car powers which stretch several tiles long. These special tiles can get in the way of gameplay, however making it difficult to traverse the map. Chasing a survivor around the walls of cars can also waste a lot of time if they start the chase with a significant lead. Going forward, these car powers are broken up into smaller single tile chunks. These car powers will also feature potential sparkers for pallets, helping reduce the potential dead zones to appear. Gas Heaven gas station itself has been moved closer to the center of the map. Since it makes the building much easier to get to from anywhere on the map, we've reviewed its spawning rules, prevent strong combinations of windows from spawning, and adjusting its pallet spawn location. Throughout the realm, some of these changes will spill into the remaining Outer Haven record maps, including new edge tiles, some of which include new gameplay such as possible pallet spawn locations. Alright, now this one's interesting to me, is healing. Hey! For a long time, medkits have kind of been a go-to item because they're just better. They're just built differently. I'm curious to see how they're being redone here. I know it doesn't sound it, but I am actually excited. There's no better way to avoid being put on a hook than healing your injuries, even if the killer is relentless. An extra health state can buy your team more time to work in generators. Having easy access to quick and plentiful heals can cause problems, particularly on highly skilled survivors who can evade the killer for quite some time. An emergency medkit alone can heal the damage done after a long chase in roughly 10 seconds. This is even begin to factor in all sorts of perks and add-ons, which speed up healing even further and grant more heals before your medkit is depleted. For killers, this means that any chase that doesn't end with a hook, even if they manage the damage, survivors can completely be undone in a matter of seconds. Keeping survivors injured and switching targets are often wise decisions. With this in mind, a few changes in store for healing to make this more practical. Healing will always take 24 seconds by default. This will make each hit more impactful, and some survivors need to spend longer to heal their wounds. We've rebalanced medkits across the board. Medkits will now have 24 charges by default, allowing one heal before they're depleted. There are different rarities, and medkits are as follows. Camping, I think is actually buffed now by increasing altruistic healing speed by... Oh, no, never mind. It's nerfed down to by an extra 5%. First aid kit is also nerfed by 10% on altruistic healing speed. For the first aid kit, emergency med kit increases is also nerfed down to 30% instead of 50%, and no longer increases the speed at which you heal yourself. Good. Honestly, it's great. Ranger med kit increase the altruistic healing speed. So what I think it does is it's increasing altruistic healing speeds of anything that was like that. Increase great skill checks, success zones, and go to and great skill checks, success zones, and skill checks, success zones is still like increased by the Ranger med kit. An add-on pass. Bringing those that are overperforming in line with the rest. Add-ons which more charges to medkit has been reviewed with the new healing time in mind. Though it is now impossible for medkit to fully heal a survivor more than twice in a match. Woo! So I guess that means that all medkits have the same charges. Yeah, all medkits now have 24 charges by default. Wow. Honestly, wow. This is a change I didn't think we were going to see in a while. Okay. So I'm a bit disappointed we don't get to see the add-on changes here. Alright. Perk updates. Moving up to perks, we have a bundle of tweaks for this update talking both meta and non-meta options. Gearhead. Gearhead currently views the aura of survivors next. Nightmare! I don't care. Stop it. So Gearhead currently views the order of the next survivor to hit a great skill check after a survivor loses a house state. These conditions require a bit of work and luck on the killer's part to get a value out of it. When a survivor loses a house state, Gearhead activates for 30 seconds, while active any survivor who hits a good skill check will have the aura revealed to the killer for 8 seconds. Okay. Providing information multiple times for each hook. Killers who efficiently catch survivors will be able to keep Gearhead active for a good portion of the match. Honestly, it does seem like a very interesting perk. Very, very interesting. Overzealous. Overzealous grants repair speed when cleansing a totem and larger when cleansing a hex. Little did we know skirmishes like this would cause between the boon levels out there. Moving forward, Overzealous will also activate upon blessing a totem in addition to cleansing. We've also increased the bonus to 10% at base. Okay. Pain Resonance! I absolutely love this perk, so I really hope that it's not getting too much of a nerf. Back in the meta, to address this, we have given Scourge Hooks a slight rework. Perk starts with 4 tokens. The first time each survivor is hooked on a Scourge Hook, the generator of the most progress will explode and lose progress. Reduce the difference between tiers of the perks. It's been gutted to the ground. That's disappointing to me. So, one of the reasons I mainly use Pain Resonance is because I don't like kicking generators. And even I will admit that regression can sometimes be more than necessary on a killer. So I will run Pain Resonance as something so I don't need to kick a jet. I'm still rewarded for good gameplay by getting downs on survivors and getting hooks. So I'm rewarded with Pain Resonance. And oh god, no, I have to get that hard real. No, wait a minute. I'm never prepared for this. They've already changed that hard so much. Though Dead Hard initially fell from grace after the 6.1 update, it has suddenly climbed back to being one of the most prominent survivor perks. Dead Hard audio requires some persistence to use, and further reducing the invulnerability would make it far too unreliable and frustrating. Therefore, Dead Hard has also received a slight rework. Dead Hard will activate after safely unhooking a survivor. When activated, press the active ability button when injured and running to gain the endurance status effect. Will deactivate when it successfully protects the user from damage. And how often Dead Hard can be used, keeping as powerful reward for survivors who've on it. No. I hate this. I'm gonna go on record to say why I hate this. Dead Hard is a great perk. It's not a strong enough perk. That means that it should be a one-time use per match. You've already now nerfed it, so you have to get a safe unhook, and then made it so now it's a one-time per use, as it will actually, no, I think. No, it's not deactivate. It's not a one-time per match. It's only a reward for safely unhooking a survivor, meaning you have to be the one going for unhooks. Okay. Still. You've now put an even larger requirement. If you want attention, you come up here. I'm bringing you up here. Stop fucking bugging me. Holy shit. I'm not in the mood for a nightmare. So, I have an issue with an exhaustion perk. One of the most interactive and best because of the fact that it's interactive and it's interesting is a perk that now is a limited time per match. Now, when I say it's a limited time per match, it is. And here's the problem. I'm probably not running Dead Hard anymore. This is nerfed Dead Hard into the ground. And yeah, while it's still not a one-time per use, it's actually almost possibly worse, as it could easily be a 0 times per use. It can also end up being, at a maximum potential, 6. This was my biggest issue with, or not my biggest, but one of my biggest issues with a background player, was that you now had an exhaustion perk that was limited times per match based on something you can't control. Unhooks. You can't control if someone else makes the unhook first because they're faster. Maybe you were working on a generator And, especially if multiple people wanted to run this perk, multiple people are going to want to go for the save. It encourages a problematic issue that, oh, I want to go get my debt. Oh, well, the unhook's already up. So it's like, people might leave the gen that they're working on to try and go for the unhook because they want to get dead hard value if they were running dead hard. And then it's just wasting time because someone else was close and wants to save first. I don't like this change. And the worst thing, and the thing that makes me actually sad, is that Dead Hard was a perk that kept the more boring perks away. Sprint Burst, one of the most boring perks in this entire game, is now going to be the king meta. And I don't like that. I really don't. This makes me sad to see. And the thing is, we're going to start a loop now. I think every exhaustion perk from here on out is now going to be looked at as every exhaustion perk worth its time is basically being king. Because they're slowly going to have to start nerfing all the other exhaustion perks. Because people are going to start complaining about Sprint Burst now. Because people are just going to run away super early and you're not going to even get in chases in the first place and it's going to be super boring. Or they're going to wait for you to get close, then run away and make the same distance. I don't know. I don't like this. I really don't like this change. I cannot honestly verbalize how much I hate that they're nerfing a perk that, yeah, it's one of the best perks in the game. Yeah, I run it. Yeah, I'm probably a bit biased, but at the same time, I play Killer. You want to know a perk that I actually hate seeing more? Sprint Burst. Sprint Burst is a perk that I find to be less interesting and a stronger perk. Why? Because Dead Hard doesn't actually have guaranteed value. And if you know how to wait out the person's Dead Hard, they don't get value. Meaning their exhaustion perk is basically a wasted perk slot. Sprint Burst, they're always going to get value out of. Honestly, with these changes, I might start running Fearmonger instead of Pain Resonance to exhaust people on generators. So it at least makes Sprint Burst a bit more bearable. But still, Sprint Burst is not going to be the most fun perk. Colubrine. Colubrine quickly rose in popularity following the meta shakeup last year, granting a large increase to regression rates of generators. It's not uncommon for a generator to fully regress once the survivor is chased away. It's now down to 125% instead of 200. Good. Similar to Colubrine, overcharges a similar rise in the power over the year. The regression pretty substantially. To bring it in line with other perks, we've reduced the maximum regression bonus to 130%. This means it'll take longer to regress rate for it to become beneficial. So at the same time, we've increased the starting regression speed to 85. So even if it stacks, it means you're only getting a 55% increase to regression on generators. This is fine for the most part. Alright, so Boon Circle of Healing. It's become a jack of all trades healing perk. Not only does it allow you and a fellow survivor to heal without a medkit, but also increases the speed of healing across the board. Going forward, you no longer can heal yourself without... We'll no longer allow survivors to heal without a medkit. Instead, it'll provide a 50% healing speed bonus to healing others. Okay, so you can only heal yourself with a medkit. In a boom. This bonus will now apply to healing done with a medkit. The odds of injured survivors within the boon's range will be revealed to all other survivors. Okay. So, Boon Circle Healing and healing as a whole has definitely been hit hard, and I'm happy about that. Colubrine Overcharge has been hit hard, and I'm happy about that. What I'm not happy about is that Pain Resonance and as all of the Scourge hooks have been kind of gutted. And Dead Hard is an evil that was keeping away worse gameplay has finally been killed. It really does make me sad. Alright, so, Hillbilly. Start your chainsaw and don't worry about them overheating. We've adjusted the Hello Berry overheat mechanic to be much more forgiving. The amount of heat generated from both starting to rev and continuing to rev your chainsaw has been drastically reduced, making the overheat mechanic almost a non-factor when used in loops over a short distance, much akin to how we used to play just before. Heat will begin to dissipate as soon as the chainsaw sprint ends, meaning most of the heat generated from a short sprint will already be gone by the time your chainsaw is ready for another attack. The amount of heat or generated chainsaw sprinting, on the other hand, has been increased slightly. The chainsaw buffer help counteract this. Longer sprints will cause your chainsaw to overheat quicker, so be careful not to let it overheat in an empty corner of the map. Last but not least, we've toned down the Doom Engravings and Death Engravings add-ons. These add-ons provide less movement speed than before and increase heat generation further. So basically, the best abilities just got hit hard with add-on nerf and going for long distance snipes ability, which was always a rewarding and difficult thing to do in the first place, which I don't know why they would nerf that. Like, okay, but that was a rewarding thing for people to do. I don't know. Add-on increase the pig's crouch speed. That has been performing very well, so we decided to nerf the pig. Haha. Increase this add-on's movement speed bonus to 10%. Simple little thing. I think Billy's so far is biggest change here. 2 of the Oni's add-ons allow him to move faster when absorbing blood orbs, losing less ground in the process, when performing as well. So we'll buff them the tiniest bit, and people still won't run these. The Nightmare, Street Block, and Unicorn Block effects affect blindness, who trigger a Dream Snare. Doing so well will increase the duration by 30 seconds, won't change anything. Killer Instinct, but since Killer only updates the person periodically, now we've made it 3 seconds, and it still won't matter because no one's going to run it. Clown. Redhead Pinky Finger can be incredibly powerful. Turn this add-on down by reducing the maximum bottle, but it seems like the star size is not enough to bring it in line with the other ultra rare add-ons. And they've now reduced it to 2. Bright light interactions. Okay, I'm very disappointed in something that I didn't see here. They made changes to killers, and instead of touching upon problematic killers in their add-ons, such as Michael Myers or the Blight, we had the Pig, the Oni, the Nightmare, doing these add-ons that are really never going to get used up by these tiny number increases that aren't going to get them used. Bright light interactions removal. Okay, this was a cool thing. This was a really cool thing that DBD had that made flashlights more useful against certain killers. And it was actually a really nice benefit that you could have that can make things actually useful and lead to small gameplay. When the 3 killers are in the game, it also enables you to bring up a toolbox just in case you face off against the trap or flashlight to burn the Wraith when it was a 1 in 3 chance. But as killer rosters go, these mechanics have started to feel out of place. The majority of killers do not have interactions with survivor items, leading to ones that do feel unfairly punished by something beyond their control. In the past, we removed the ability to sabotage the trap with bear traps to alleviate this issue. In this update, we're proving flashlight interactions with various killer powers, since some of these actions are fairly well known. We'll quickly run through each of these. The Wraith, yeah, everyone knows that. Nurse was a much less known one, but we've just buffed Nurse in one of the few ways you could actually counterplay her in an interesting way. That kind of sucks. Artist, yep. And then Hag is the most impactful here. It's been the sole counter to Hag's traps. We would review the aura, but sending flashlight trap would destroy it. Is it a trickier since release survivors is no option, but set a trap and risk it. To ensure that doesn't happen, to make the Hag too oppressive, we're having the ability to wipe away a phantasm trap. In order to do so, that need to spot the trap, crouch over it to be avoid setting off, and form a several second long action to clear it. I do like that they're adding an actual counterplay to the Hag, which is good. Late last year, in deeper level of the Rift was revealed, allowing players who had already reached the 70s to go further. The Deep Rift features new features to better different the bonus Deep Rift from the regular Rift. You may notice a new trend emerging with the most recent chapter lores expanding the following terms. No coincidence, something we're doing with the new chapters moving forward. It allows us to expand on the most recently introduced characters lore in a more natural and exciting way. Natural Naturally, licensing chapters will be an exception to this. We'd love to expand upon the stories we've done in the past, like Ghostface and Bill. From Francis with their own stories to tell, therefore the tomes followed. Licensed chapters may feature existing original characters instead. Alright, so to sum up, my opinions on the changes. Blood Web improvements, fantastic improvements. I'm even actually excited for the Blood Web change, only having click instead of hold. Pressed with the whole press to buy. Visual terror radius, I'm excited, and even I'm going to use this. Even I struggle sometimes in telling from a terror radius or if there's a lullaby that I can hear or not. Especially since I deal with auditory hallucinations, sometimes I hear what isn't there. This would be nice. Autohaven Record map updates, great. I love to hear them. Healing rebalance, fucking beautiful, honestly. Perk update. Pain Residence, got it. Dead Hard, got it. Honestly, Call of Brine and Overcharge are still probably going to be run a bit more, but no near as impressive, so it's good at least. Boon Circle Keeling, got it, but good. Killer updates, Hellbelly. Honestly, sounds good. Right, like, interaction removal, meaning we have counterplay for the hack, good. But all the rest, like, the rest is okay, but it was a cool little thing. I get why they're removing it. The killer updates, other than that, basically meaningless. And, yeah. That's it. I really, you know what? I'm worried. But thank you guys so much for joining me on this. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.